This will never work. And no, I'm not talking about basket standardization. What's up, Discgenerates? It's the disc golf world. I'm Jefferson, here to break down the Masters. No, not that one. The Go Throw Masters Invitational. Maybe it wasn't the best name, but I could have told you that from the amount of confused 60-year-olds trying to get in. From the announcement, this event was highly anticipated because of the $50,000 purse. For a non-PDGA sanctioned tournament, that seemed like a big deal, especially since it was also an invite only. 32 of some of the best disc golfers in the world competing on what is described as the best disc golf course ever. If you don't believe me, all you gotta do is ask Aaron Gossage. Might just be the first course he likes all year.
We've seen a lot of comments saying that we're too negative, so we decided let's go to the best course on the planet, and it's just automatic to be positive because this course is incredible. There's nothing bad to say about this place.
It's amazing. The reason that we're so critical of all these other courses is because of this course.
The standard's too high.
I know, man, and I think that's what it is. I
this
just
place now.
was figuring out while I was playing. I was like, this is what I want disc golf to be.
Well, you have the vision for that.
I've seen it happen. Yeah. And that's why every other course, I'm like, hey, they could use to tweak this or this to get to this level.
However, he wasn't the only pro to express their interest. Anthony Barella posted that Eagles Crossing is the greatest piece of disc golf property in the world. Adam Hammes even called it a work of art, and plenty of praise from many other competitors. Even with the positive reactions, there is still one question that needs to be asked. Does winning mean anything? For those that think my voice is annoying, you already know my answer. Well, at least kind of. And that is, of course, this will never work. But you'll have to stay a bit longer for that kind of part. Since the sudden announcement of the Go Throw Tour on the beach of Puerto Rico, fans questioned if this was the reason for that controversial clause the DGPT was allegedly putting into place. I'm talking about the one that didn't allow tour card holders to play in any other tour events. What if I told you that actually wasn't about them? But that's a story for another day. Because the people have already decided their framework. That being, Go Throw was competing with the Pro Tour head-to-head, even though they are still technically working as camera operators for them. But yeah, that's the narrative we're going with. Which is why I believe in the eyes of the fans, the one thing they need to prove is that a win on their tour is prestigious. How can they accomplish that? Well, for starters, the amount the winner gets. Second, the type of competition they get. Third, validation from those pros. And maybe most important, validation from the fans. As loaded as the field was, there will always be doubters of the competition if you don't have literally everyone there. That being said, they had 6 out of the current top 10 players in the standings. So that's not bad, since most of you are used to only watching 4 people play at a time anyways. Next comes that validation. The course already does a good job at that. I haven't heard one negative review, which in today's game is really hard. It definitely helps that the course is great, but I also think the theatrics help. Some people might call the animal statues or any of the props corny, but I couldn't disagree more. Yes, because I think it looks dope. But also, the place is huge, so it helps put a perspective on how far away things are. It also allows stakes to be really big to see from everywhere and not look so out of place. But the biggest reason, which is probably the most important for the growth of this event, is think of the advertising opportunities. It's time to move on for ads being yard signs in the ground by the tee pads, and start putting artificially aesthetic assets in places around the course. There's so much empty space around to be creative and to make something memorable. I'm not even against utilizing some of it in play as well, but would understand the pushback. My only argument would be, think of how much money a sponsor would pay if they could sponsor something blocking an open fairway with their logo on it. If the idea is already to move out of the woods, then why not create man-made obstacles if they look appealing? I bet it would entice a lot more people to invest $2 million into a disc golf course if there was more opportunities to make a profit from it. Would probably help out cheapening those $30 rounds that way too. Or it's purely a way to increase the prize pool, because I think that has the biggest impact of the event overall. It's how you get the best in the world to play. It's how you know the players will validate the event, and it's how the fans will be on board. More money involved, the better for everyone essentially. As much as $50,000 seems like a big purse, it's not turning heads. For our community, yes. But it's also why the other 4 players from the top 10 didn't play. I'm really curious what the event would look like if they said screw it, winner gets it all. Do less people participate? Probably, but is that such a bad thing for Go Throw? I mean, the max amount of people on camera is only 8. Just a thought, because right now, I don't think this format will ever work. If everything is the same as other events, how can I call it more prestigious? Makes it even harder with only 2 rounds. But if the winner gets more money than every DGPT event, then there's enough of a storyline to make this tournament truly something. If that were to happen, I also think that it easily could evolve into something totally bigger. If more people start playing, why not expand the rounds, or do whatever you can to make it a spectacle? Clearly that was already the goal. It's the reason the announcers walked around in red jackets. Why do you think Big Germ was brought in? To make it seem more legit. It's also why pros were allowed golf carts to practice. Another small thing that adds tons of value. I'll even throw in the caddy outfits. Literally every detail that can make it appear more like the masters of disc golf, they will take it, and I don't blame them at all. The goal for Go Throw is to have one respectable event. If they can do that, they win. It's a complete uphill battle, but the foundation is currently being put in. And still, having a prize pool of 50K is a big step. I would hope that means the winner is getting similar to a DGPT stop, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that gets announced. Another big thing from the weekend that I think helps make this tournament stand out is having what many, including myself, are calling the best basket ever made. I had the chance to talk with Dave McCormick, the inventor of the basket, to fully understand what makes the basket better than the rest.
Basically, I made a basket called the Titan Pro 24 in 2001, and it had heavy inside chains, right? And it had the 2-out Liberty on the outside. And I didn't make any changes because it was so good at the time with the half-inch steel construction. I didn't make any changes for 23, 24 years. I started working on this probably a little over a year ago, and there's so many different features in this thing that just by glance people see it's big and it's the Titan and it's heavy duty, but there's some features in here that are like really fundamental to this, getting trapped. Basically, whenever you put a wall of chains up to where you can catch this kind of heavy, super heavy duty shots, by the time you get a disc to catch that right here, it won't catch soft stuff. So you need something that can catch softs flat, off center, without spin. That stuff's got to catch too, right? So how I've done that is I've taken the outside chains here and the very inside chains and connected them to the same ring. So they're connected to the same ring, but all the tension is on this one. And then on the second set of chains, every other one, the tension's on this one and the slack is on this one. So all the outside chains here, all this has slack on it, allowing those real soft stuff to come in. And then all this here has the tension on it, allowing it to trap it. Now you can keep throwing and throwing and throwing, and this Frisbee will not hit that pole. It can't get, so bouncing off the pole is not a thing. On the top part of the thing, it took me about 5 different revisions of this angle of slide and the depth that it slides to. So this is one of a real good features. This high stuff, that would kick out on a lot of baskets because there's too much tension up there. That was 1 inch under the band. And how that's happening is that this chain is sliding up past this chain, and before it dead ends here, it hits this other chains, slides up, hits that chains, comes the rest in the basket. So on this particular model of basket here, if you notice right here, there's no nubs. There's no nubs on the basket. So no nubs, you've got, let's just say from where you're at right there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 places where there would be nubs would be, and it lets this stuff in like that, right? So most people, if they're putting accurately, you got your high stuff here, and you got this low stuff that wouldn't go in on a regular, that shot wouldn't go in on a regular basket. Now the drawback is when you're over here, and you hit this, when you get past the fourth upright, you could get that. Now, that's a bad putt, but should you be extra penalized when it hits here for potential Kareem and roll away? Now I've made these baskets for Phil Samuels at Eagles Crossing without the nub because he was like the sleek, clean look of the thing, and I was really apprehensive about it first. My fabricator made them for me. I was just making 60 for Phil, but they made 60 extra ones for me, so I went up to 120. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I like this, right? But I got them out on a course. I got some play going. I started getting some data, and it's like, oh, that's another good one. Here's 2 good ones, 8 good ones. Oh, there's 1 bad one. And after about 3 or 4 rounds, the ratio of good ones over the ratio of effective bad ones was so astronomically in the wrong direction. Now that's 3 rounds of 5 players and that kind of data, which is not a lot, but it definitely was proven to be people were enjoying this frisbee going in on the front more than they were getting bummed out by the one was flipping off to the side. Plus, it's half-inch steel construction. This band is 130,000 thick. They're literally the only, probably the last company to make a basket made in America, and they're guaranteed against bending and breaking. All hot-tip galvanized chains.
Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on the basket and if more courses should try to adapt to these. I think the spit out problem has officially been solved with this thing. I've witnessed Nico LaCastro whipping full power drives from 30 feet and they were all catching. Personally, I think that's needed because aces need to catch. It's the coolest thing that our sport can do in order to get mainstream coverage. We can argue if that's a good thing or not, but at the end of the day, more eyes are seeing our sport and I'm taking that. I don't want to spoil the Go Throw Masters for you because I do want this event to be something extremely meaningful one day, so I'm forcing you all to go watch it. Trust me, it's worth it. I promise. Both rounds you get to see a course record and one of the dopest properties disc golf has to offer, so try and tell me you don't want to see that. This week it's the Kansas City Wide Open. Stay tuned for not only our preview video this week, but hopefully our new gambling segment, as long as that's still a thing. Lastly, shout out to everyone on Patreon for the continued support. We just dropped episode 1 of our new exclusive uncensored podcast, and we're recording number 2 tonight, discussing all the dirty secrets we heard this week. Just kidding. I wish I could tell you guys.